I don't. You know how I feel about that. Once you do it, you're going to do it again. I don't care. I wish they didn't do it. Second chances aside, whatever. I had to go. My 30 plus years in this industry, I wasn't allowed to do these things. Nobody else should be allowed to do it. If you're going to do it, you shouldn't be driving a truck. That's the end of that. But training. Training has been lacking. And what we learned in September was what? We learned that there were fraudulent schools, that there were schools with no curriculum where they were handing out licenses. So again, how did we get to the point where what you're talking about is now part of the issue? And that goes back to the people that were supposed to be making sure we have properly trained people on the highway, obviously didn't do their job, did they?
100%. Talking about them schools, Otis sent me a video. I guess it was a commercial. There's a company out in California. They're probably closed down by now. They were $2,500. You could get your CDL.
I don't know what they're teaching you for $2,500.
$2,500. You could get your CDL.
How to start the truck.
I learned to drive with a man. It had an extended hood Peterbilt, and on the back of it, it said, "There's no sensation like acceleration." Okay, so I learned driving around Hudson Falls, New York, with my mentor Bob. Every time I did something wrong, he had a yardstick in the passenger seat. And every time I rested my hand on that transmission, he smacked my knuckles with that yardstick. Every time I forgot to use a turn signal when I was changing lanes, he smacked my hand with that yardstick. And I was getting annoyed by it. But by the time it was over, I remember one thing he taught me is I got mad. I got frustrated. So what's the first thing you do when you're driving a truck and things aren't going your way? You take it out on the truck, right? You get rough with the truck, you're mashing the accelerator, you're not paying attention. I learned from people who believe safety was your job, not everybody else's job. It was your job. And I learned to respect the machine and what the machine could do. Because if you don't respect the machinery, it will hurt you badly. But anyway, that aside, Cisco's training has suffered horribly, right?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I was trained the same way from my father.
Exactly.
You're at me from the sleeper.
You're talking about that there, Charles. You know, I had to go to truck driving school in 1990 to get my CDL. Our school was 2 months long. You drove during the day, you drove at night, you had a loaded trailer, you had an empty trailer, you drove on the highway, you drove in the city. They had a yard that was the size of most Love's truck stops with K barriers where you had to back into a dock, you had a slalom course. I mean, you had all kinds of shit. They showed you how to slide your tandem, the proper way to slide your fifth wheel. They taught you all kinds of stuff. How can somebody learn in 2 weeks to drive a freaking truck when all they do is drive it around the damn block?
100%. Do you remember MS Carriers by any chance?
I do actually remember MS Carriers. You know who they're tied to?
Yeah,
I remember.
Yeah.
Okay, so MS Carriers, I will say this. I had many friends that went to MS Carriers Driving Academy in Pennsylvania. Like Mike said, that school was 8.5, 9 weeks long. They trained you on every aspect. How to couple and uncouple, how to do your blind sides, how to do your parallel parking. You know how many guys I've watched try to parallel park their truck along the curb in a rest area and just wanted to scream? Do they even teach it anymore?
Reference points.
You know how many times I look at people trying to parallel park a car? So this is the professionalism, Charles. Here's my whole.
Beat me to it, man.
Yeah, here's my whole argument for everybody, right? They want professional drivers. They don't pay them well. But everybody's fighting the wrong people. and you gotta fight. You gotta follow the money. Let me tell you where the money doesn't start. The money doesn't start with brokers. It doesn't start with the owner of a trucking company. It doesn't start with anybody. It starts with these corporations, right? These greedy ass corporations, and then they're really good friends. Let me tell you who they're really good friends with. They're really good friends with your mega carriers. The mega carriers that keep all and suppress all the rates down, and they hire people at 45 cents, 40, 50 cents, and that's what keeps your wages down. And unfortunately, I'm going to preach until I get some noise and people start looking at it. They are a big problem of the industry. Why? Because whenever you dictate 50% to 70% of the freight, that's where it lies. And all these big corporations, you don't think they have different types of kickbacks for their other businesses? Not for the trucking company because that's illegal, but they have other kickbacks for their other businesses, right? They could actually take in, and then you see them. You see all these guys, Charles. I've sat at those tables. I've sat next to them. I see them laughing. I see them laughing, having a great time, drinking a bunch of Jack, drinking a bunch of Scotch, drinking everything, and eating fucking, even eating the best meats out there, right? And they just leave it there because to them they just rather drink their shit away, and they all hang out. And then you got big companies, big associations that lick these guys' nutsack from the bottom on up, right? They got and they act like they're supporting you. Well, let me give you an example. The ATA president, right? This motherfucker makes $2 million. $2 million a year. Why doesn't he just take a $200,000 salary and give back to the trucking industry for the $1.8 million? Why?
You know why?
Because yeah,
Because Chris Spears is politically connected. Chris Spears, the head of the ATA, like so many other people in government. JJ, you know what I'm talking about. Chris Spears served overseas in presidential, for different presidents. This guy heads the ATA by no coincidence. There is no such thing as a coincidence with Chris Spears. And he's been the president of the ATA for how many years now?
100%, bro. Like he's looking more ball sacks than anybody.
And here's another thing. You talk about the way they talk when they're sipping their Jack and smoking their cigars. I've been at these meetings where someone will say there'll be a senator or a politician, and they'll say, "Well, those." Whenever truckers start to make noise, they don't refer to us as America's lifeblood, as America's professional truck drivers. It's always those people. People complain too much. Those people expect too much. So to them, we're just those people. We're not even an industry.
And you're a number. And you know what? You know how like in a TMS you look like? You look unit number 238. You know how else he finds you as unit numbers? The penal system. It's weird, huh? I talk about this all the time.
So did the Nazis when they was
100%.
making all the Jews. They numbered every one of them.
Every one of them. Yeah, it's funny, like how you became a number.
And Coolhard just said it best. People say truck drivers complain a lot, but if we're going to look at what's happened since September to right now, I think it's pretty obvious that they've uncovered every single thing that the older drivers have been talking about. Now, I'm still a believer. I become a believer more and more every day in accountability. So I got to wrap this up. But before I do that, I'm not excusing what Super Eagle has done to people. They have taken advantage of people who don't know any better, taken advantage of people that aren't educated about numbers or contracts or understanding what they're signing. But to go back to what I've learned from you, from Cisco, and from so many other people is if you don't understand this business and you don't know what it costs you to operate your vehicle, your truck, and you're not treating this like a business, you're never going to succeed anyway. If you're not willing to treat this like a business instead of an ATM machine and a paycheck, you're not going to survive.
I agree with that. I agree with everything. So I hope that we could all come together and actually see how to become better business people together and understand what is changeable and not changeable. And let me share this with you guys. The way to do it is through safety and your mental health.
Well, I
Well,
appreciate
I got one thing to say. I'm gonna jump off here because I got to run inside.
Sure.
You know, there's one thing that people don't talk about. You know, they talk about these truck driving schools and the amount of time it takes to get your CDL and this and that. Okay, how can you, as a new driver, get your CDL, go to work for a company, and I'm just going to put it out there because my mom's husband used to work for Swift. He was there for 15 years. Okay. You, as a new CDL holder, go to work for Swift. You have no violations, no lates, on times. Everything's perfect. 6 months, you're qualified to be a trainer. How can that person train somebody that just got their license yesterday? That's another problem with this industry. We have unqualified, untrained people trying to train people that are untrained.
Well, like I said, I get it. And that's why my hope was with people like JJ and Cisco and WeTheTruckers.com and Vince. Look, I love Vince. There's a seat for everybody in what we have all decided to name advocacy, right? Who is that? I don't know who it is.
What?
No, I was looking at something on the side of the screen. It's there's a lot of work to do. There's a place for everybody here, and if everybody can just keep having conversations like this tonight, Mike, you said it, and JJ knows, the last 3 or 4 live videos that we've done talking about industry issues, there hasn't been anybody screaming and hollering and acting like a fool. They've debated each other professionally with kindness, understanding, compare back and forth. This is how I feel about it. But I have fun doing these, and I hope to do more. So y'all, hey, remember.
Hey, Charlie, hold on a second.
Everybody?
Hey, just want to let you know, I am running for state office. That's another way to solve the issues in the trade.
Hey.
Oh, that's Daniel.
Yeah.
Of course. I get messed up when I see these people's names. I don't know who you people are.
Look at
Why
that.
don't you just say?
Look at the U.S. Capitol behind it. You ought to have known it was me or somebody like me.
So if you guys don't know Daniel Kors, you can find him on here. Daniel, I've known Daniel as well, Vince, a very long time. He's a great guy. He's been right there in the trenches, the same as me, fighting for, trying to do things. He's not a big social media guy because he's going to run for state office.
Sweet.
So we need support Daniel.
I just followed him. Everyone go follow him.
Daniel, we've known each other a long time, and there's plenty of problems in this industry that need to be fixed.
About eight years I've been involved in this. I got
Wow.
involved at 18. I've got some pretty fun stories.
Hey, the next time I come live, I'll send you an invite so you can come in and join us. But I'm at the way station over here just outside of Chattanooga. I got to deliver at 4 a.m. to a job site. So I'm going to get some sleep. Daniel, no, seriously, I'll bring you on. I'd love to let people hear about you and try to support you running for office. Hey, listen, I'm going to say this right now. I see other people chiming in. If you're running for public office and you've got a trucking background, I will give you a platform to come on here and tell us what you stand for. Okay?
Amen.
I know Daniel, and I know what he stands for. So promoting Daniel and helping Daniel and his cause is nothing for me, because I believe that he would be a great representative of this industry and the people in his community. So I got no problem with it.
And there's one, you were talking about training. One of the biggest things in training, you can send as many people as you want to truck driving school. The problem is we're not looking at mentality and psychological ability of doing the job before we throw them into these schools. And whether they can handle the loneliness, whether they can handle the stress of the job, and whether or not they come from a background where they actually have common sense to handle heavy equipment. If you can't do that,
There we go.
you don't belong in this industry. I grew up as a farm kid. That's where I came in at. I'm a first generation trucker. And it was all because I came off the farm. It was like, oh, I didn't go to CDL school. truck driving school. My truck driving school was 3 days in a Kmart parking lot, back in the jacket, 12 miles down the road, 12 miles back, go take the test. I mean, and then when I got back with my license the day after Memorial Day, I walked in there at 8:30 and short stick and a 9-speed short stick with a big wheel. There's 80,000 pounds of vinyl tent. Get that shit to Tennessee. They're waiting on you. That's what we did.
It ain't like that anymore. But
Hey,
anyway,
hey, Charles, I'll pick up the live. Yeah, in about 30 minutes, I'm going to start a live, just so you know.
okay,
Everybody knows.
everybody go watch Vince. Moonshine, it's been a pleasure, my brother.
You know what?
Hey,
You know
Daniel,
why
like I said-
you know why your lives go well and everybody gets along?
No, I don't.
True advocates. They're true advocates. They know how to debate one another. They know how to talk to each other civilized. And when they get their feelings hurt, they still debate you civilly. They don't run and hide and scream at you.
Block you, mute you. Right.
That's all
Right.
I got to say about that situation, brother.
Well, the other thing too is me and Charles have been around long enough that we sit back and we hear the same old song and dance that we've been doing for the last 15 years, and we're like, yeah, we've done that, tried that, it don't work. You gotta do this till like,
Don't follow Charles. Don't trust Charles. Don't follow Charles. They don't like Charles because he speaks the truth. That's why they don't like Charles.
hey, I got my Vivek Ramaswamy truth hat on right now.
I'll catch y'all later. Hey, stay safe. Every one of you stay safe. Get home safe to your families. If you're home, enjoy it. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. WeTheTruckers.com if you want to find more people like the people you saw here tonight. Vince, pick up the torch and run with it, baby.
I'll do it, brother.
Have a good evening, Charles.
Later, guys. All right, guys, we're going to pick this up again in about 20 minutes. So be there or be square.